Support for WUWM podcasts comes from Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, home to 24/7 excitement, dining, and an on-site hotel at 1721 West Canal Street. More information at potawatomi.com.
You're listening to Lake Effect Spotlight from WUWM, Milwaukee's NPR station. Here's one of our favorite conversations about what's happening in the city.
A new documentary looks at what students with different faith backgrounds can learn from each other. The film focuses on an ambitious teacher and his students in a world religions class at Prospect High School in Mount Prospect, Illinois. It's showing at the Milwaukee Film Festival, and ahead of that, WUWM's Maayan spoke with filmmaker Allison Walsh and producer Lily Chi about the project and what it's all about.
First of all, I'd just like to say that I liked your clever titling of the film, All of the Above. I didn't really get it until after I had finished watching the movie, but obviously, this is my take. It's a reference to the multiple choice question exams that you may have taken in high school, but also more symbolically, like what's above, as in God, spirituality, religion. How did you guys come up with that name?
Oh, you got it. That is exactly, we even thought about having a Scantron on our poster to make it very clear. But yeah, we had been making this film for 6 years, for a long time. We just called it Teaching About Religion because it was very hard to sort of encompass what the film was in the title. And we workshopped the title for a couple years, and my sister is the one that came up with All of the Above. She also was really pushing for tests of faith, but we liked All of the Above the best.
That's cool. Lily, did you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, and I think it starts with an A. It's always good to start with the film title with an A. It always shows up at all the film program at the very beginning. So I'm very happy with the title.
That's cool. That's a good point. So Allison, you are a former student in this world religions class. You were at Prospect High School in Mount Prospect, Illinois, where you filmed the documentary. And there's even a short scene at the beginning of the film where you let the class and also the film audience know that you were part of this class. How did that spur you doing this whole documentary?
Yeah, so when I took the class when I was a senior in high school, I really hadn't learned about other religions. I didn't have any understanding or idea that I was even interested in this subject. But I was really passionate about my own Christian faith. And this class really just blew my mind. It was such a paradigm shift. And what I found the most striking was learning about my classmates' faiths and classmates that I had been in school with for years. And I knew so little about their background and their faith. And when I learned about it, I realized, I just had these deep connections with my classmates. So that inspired me to, eventually become a documentary filmmaker where every day I get to listen to different perspectives on the world. And so when I was starting to make documentaries, I just had always kept thinking about this class and I wanted to come back. But I wanted to tell the story in the present day and see if we could capture students' experiences live and see their reactions on their faces, the aha moments right in person.
Yeah, there are a lot of interfaith student relationships in this film. I think you probably made a concerted effort to include that, right?
Yeah, and I think it came really naturally. It was a cool, I think we have a lot of interfaith relationships in our lives, but we don't talk about religion very often, so it's not always present. And so the students in the class, I think they discovered how much they discovered so much about each other's faiths and realized how much their relationship was an interfaith relationship.
And a lot of this film focuses on, of course, the teacher of the class. His name is John. I don't think I caught his last name in the film.
Camardella, but the kids call him Cuba. He's a cool teacher.
Cuba. Okay, gotcha. Cuba, nice. Okay, so Mr. Camardella, he really had a fascinating journey into world religions. His mom was a nun, his dad was a Catholic brother, and they both left the church after decades to presumably marry each other. After that, they had what the film describes as an open-armed approach to friends and strangers. And John describes as how they sort of literally expand the table by having these large dinners and hosting people from different backgrounds at their house. So this is sort of his origin story. What else did you learn about Cuba or Mr. Cubandela from his trajectory into teaching world religions?
I think I actually started on the film as an assistant editor, so I actually went through a lot of footage before I started producing the film. So Allison and I, we really know the film pretty well, and I think I was very impressed by Cuba's openness to, students from different faiths, and also he himself really pushes himself really hard to. He's really devoted to the interfaith work. He is a Harvard scholar, and he got a master in religion and public life from Harvard because he really wanted to bring this kind of education to different schools and work with school administrators to promote this class. So I think for me, it's really inspiring to see someone who is so passionate about what they're doing and really dedicated to bring education and just really fundamental good values to students in the next generation. So to me, that's a very surprising fact to know about Cuba. And he also was a former basketball coach. So we also got to witness like his sporty side of it, and working with the boys, teenage boys, are not the easiest group to work with. And he was able to use his basketball experience to coach and educate teenage boys so that way. So those are the things that I think were not in the film, but it was present in the footage, and I'm very happy that I got to experience that. Allison, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I would just echo that. I mean, I think you answered that really well. I've known him for a long time, first as my teacher, and then we've stayed in touch and became family friends. So yeah, it was so great to get to spend a whole year filming him.
This is Lake Effect. I'm WUWM's Maayan Silver, speaking with producers and filmmakers Allison Walsh and Lily Chi from All of the Above, which is showing in the Milwaukee Film Festival. And was there something in the course of filming and creating this documentary that, it seems like rather a large bite to take to try to cover a world religion class with so many different kinds of religions and so many different kinds of ways of practicing, and then to fit those pieces of wisdom into one film, and then also to focus on high school students who are extremely sometimes shy to talk, or they might not want to be on camera. So was there anything that really surprised you about making this film that you weren't expecting?
Well, I feel like I loved your question, this line of questioning, because I think what the students learn is not just facts and knowledge, but also a skill set of how to move forward in the world and how to be a good neighbor and live in a pluralistic democracy. And we're not always going to know the answers, right? And I think John, the teacher, he really prides himself on students after this class are often not going into religious studies. They're going all over into different disciplines. And it's really important to have religiously literate people, in our communities. So that's what I think was so cool. And seeing the class evolve for me from when I was a high school senior until, 13 years later, when I came back to see where the class is at now, that skill set is just more and more refined. So yeah, maybe you don't know the answer to every question, but you have the confidence to ask the question and to do so in a respectful way. And I find that incredibly profound.
Also, interrogating sources is something that can really help you how information is distributed today. It's always a good thing to discover how to ask questions and to interrogate who's talking to you and where the information is coming from. So those are things that even goes beyond religion. Cuba also teaches an adult world religions class, in part, because he got a lot of emails from, quote, concerned parents about what he was teaching their children. What did you learn about that over the course of producing the film?
Yeah, I think from our experience, most parents, they were curious about what is happening in the class, and that provides like a window opportunity for them to, one, know about what John is teaching in the class, but two, I think a lot of people came out of the parent class feel like they are receiving the education that, they are learning something new about their own religion or other people's religion that they previously didn't know about. So I feel like that parent class is also an asset in the community now for the school parents to get to know what the school is teaching their kids and also learning something new, because I think as adults, especially after you became parents, you don't really get the opportunity to learn and have a space dedicated to getting new knowledge. So I feel like it's a very valuable existence in the community.
Well, this film will be at the Milwaukee Film Festival. Allison Walsh and Lily Chi, thank you so much for joining me on Lake Effect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Lily Chi is the producer of the documentary All of the Above. We also heard from the filmmaker Allison Walsh. They both joined WUWM's Maayan Silver. The film is showing tomorrow evening at the Oriental Theater as a part of the Milwaukee Film Festival. Milwaukee Film is a financial supporter of WUWM.
That was the Lake Effect Spotlight podcast. It comes from your local NPR station, WUWM. Subscribe to the Lake Effect Spotlight podcast to hear more great stories about Milwaukee.